Today I'd like to talk about our development process at Infinitap Games, and this is sort of spurred on by some talk on the forums about collaboration and how the team works and how the team brainstorms. And for better or worse, Infinitap is kind of like a dictatorship in that I sort of am the final say on everything and force my opinion down people's throats, although I do try to, I'm definitely open to other ideas, and hopefully I'm not completely unreasonable, but basically that's the way that the company is set up, and so how things work is usually I sit down and I figure out what the goals are for the project, what we want to express, and with Infinitap Games, a lot of our focus is not on game mechanics; it's on the emotional content. It's about communicating something. So rather than gameplay mechanics, which can require a lot of brainstorming or prototyping, basically I sort of go in and put a lot of thought into what I want to express, and so that's where we start. And then of course I check in, design docs and whatnot. Not sure if anyone really reads them, but at least I personally find putting my notes in sort of a brainstorming fashion and putting them all in one place is helpful. And if you got the designer's notebook for Neverending Nightmares, you could see how things evolved over the course of the early development, and also how close or some things are to the original design and how different things are. Then when it comes to the actual implementation in terms of art, that's a lot more open, and so I am not an artist. I am the world's worst person at actually creating art. Certainly I like to think I have an eye for art, but I'm also probably full of myself, so whether or not that's true remains to be seen. But then I will write up tasks and ideas for the art team, and we try to have weekly art meetings to go over that and discuss that and choose what we think looks best. And in this area, sometimes if the team thinks something looks better than my favorite iteration, then we'll sometimes go with the team if I think it'll work for mechanically, because a lot of game art is not about creating the best art. It's about creating the best art that will function given parameters, and those parameters can be very challenging for an artist to work with. So let's see, do I have my animation dummy around? So if you're animating a character jumping, the first thing you do is you have this sort of crouch, and then you spring up like that. And it looks really beautiful, and that's the way we naturally move. But if you implement that in gameplay, you get something like Prince of Persia or Flashback, where the character looks awesome, but it's super hard to control because you press the jump button and the character doesn't jump. Instead, the character, takes a step to get in his running jump, or, bends his knees and pushes off. And so that's an example of how game art, needs to meet certain requirements. So usually, since I have a lot of development experience, I have a good idea of what will work in terms of the technical requirements and what won't. But beyond that, stylistic choices. Sometimes I go with the team and what they prefer. And then, sometimes I don't have a clear idea of what I'm looking for, or I don't have any idea of what I'm looking for. I just have a list of goals, and so then I'll work with the team and brainstorm how we can achieve those goals. So that's helpful because, sometimes it's difficult for me to think of good art solutions to, problems. Given that I don't have very much in the way of art skills. And then, certainly there's the art team, and then there's the technical team. The technical team consists of just Dan and me, and for the most part, basically I say what needs to get done, and then Dan does it. No questions asked, no problems, and it's very easy for me. I don't have to, even really come up with, a well-detailed idea of what it is I'm looking for. I'll just, paint some broad strokes of, this is what we need, and then Dan, puts together something awesome. But sometimes, what we're looking for is poorly defined. So you can have an idea like, hey, it'd be really great if the tool does this. And then, Dan will look at the problem and say, okay, well, what exactly does this mean? How do we achieve that? And so sometimes, the problems aren't really, or the task isn't really well defined, and then I'll work with Dan on coming up with what it is we're actually looking for. So the team actually almost never works as a full team. I don't think we've ever had everyone meeting, and I mean, because Dan doesn't have much to say about the art or the gameplay. I'm not sure he really likes, in fact, I'm pretty sure he doesn't really care for horror games, but he's really, really good at implementing the things we need, so I can't complain. And then, of course, I work with Eduardo and Skylar, on those particular areas. So it's a sort of a weird way to look at it, or a weird way to approach development. Well, maybe, I don't know. Certainly I'm the bottleneck in a lot of areas, and it puts a lot of pressure on me to keep everyone sort of, sometimes I feel like, the thing where the plates are spinning on all the things, you gotta keep spinning all the plates. But, the advantage is that we're able to keep things focused. Because I remember working on a game at a studio that will remain nameless, and we were working on the prototype phase, and so I was the only programmer doing implementation, and then there was a lead programmer above me. And then, I don't know, there were a bunch of leads and people on other teams. So then we would have this meeting, to talk about, what were we doing? Like springboards or something. And there'd be like, I don't know, like 20, I don't know, maybe it wasn't quite 20, but maybe it was like 10 or 15, senior people at the studio, which had multiple projects, meeting to talk about how we can do the springboards for the character. And, that is hugely expensive, and certainly for, a game with a huge budget, maybe that makes sense, maybe that doesn't, but we have to keep our operation very lean, I'm very, cautious about wasting people's time in meetings or, talking about things that they don't care about. So, I just think about the man hours that would go into a meeting with everyone versus the man hours to meet sort of individually with the different groups and talk about the issues pertaining to them. So I don't know. It may not be the most collaborative environment to develop a game. Certainly, I'm happy because I get to make whatever I want, and then I force it down everyone else's throats. But the advantage of that is, and with 24 Karat Games, I worked with my business partner on that endeavor, Justin, and sometimes we would disagree, and if you have two people voting and there's a disagreement, what do you do? And that can be tough, and certainly, at least with our current game, we have a really tight schedule, and we don't have a lot of time to, implement two things and try them both out. We want to hopefully, get closer to our goal with every iteration. So, it's challenging to run an operation this lean, and certainly, I mean, you look at like Five Nights at Freddy, and it's one guy doing everything in 4 months, and it blows my mind because our schedules are much longer, and we have many more people, and it still feels lean. It still feels like we have this clock looming over us, and it's kind of interesting. I mean, certainly we're creating a different game than Five Nights Five Nights at Freddy's, but it's definitely but I mean it's how we work, and certainly there are games that take longer. There's games that approach things differently. But, I mean, Neverending Nightmares did pretty well for us, and that's how we approach the game, and I think, we're hopefully improving our processes based on that, but I think, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So anyway, thanks for watching.